You ever get that feeling that the whole 9 to 5 thing, it just isn't working anymore? Well, you are definitely not alone. We are living through this quiet but massive revolution that is completely changing how we think about work, our careers, and, how we make a living. So just how big of a shift are we talking about? Check this out. A recent report from Monster dropped a number that just floored me. 62%. That's how many workers in the US either have a side hustle right now or they're planning on starting one. I mean, think about that. That's nearly 2/3 of the entire workforce. This isn't some niche little trend anymore. This is the new mainstream. And that really brings us to the big question, right? Why is this happening and why now? Are we all just scrambling for a bigger paycheck, or is there something deeper going on? A bigger desire for something more from our work? To figure that out, we've got to look at the forces driving this huge side hustle takeover. And what's so interesting is that it's this mix of pure economic need and a very human search for meaning. This right here shows you everything. You see this fascinating split in what's motivating us. On one hand, you've got the cold, hard reality of money. A massive 58% of people are worried that their salary just can't keep pace with inflation, and lots of folks are nervous about layoffs. But look at the other top concern, with the exact same percentage. 58% want more flexibility. So it's not just about surviving, it's about wanting to live life on our own terms. And that desire for a different kind of life, it's incredibly powerful. It's not just running away from the bad stuff. A survey from Upwork found that a huge 84% of freelancers feel like they've found their real purpose through their independent work. So you see, people are being pushed by economic worries, but they're also being pulled by this promise of freedom, control, and just more happiness. So what does gig work actually look like in practice? It's not just one thing. In fact, it's probably best to break it down into 3 main categories, or let's call them flavors. Each one has its own recipe for success. So we're going to dive into 3 different models. First, creating and selling digital products. Then, we'll look at mastering the world of microgigs. And finally, offering up your high-level skills as a service. First up, digital products. Now, the idea here is just, it's beautiful. You build something once and you can sell it forever. We're talking ebooks, online courses, design templates, you name it. The real magic is in the scalability and that incredible potential for passive income. I mean, once the hard work is done, you can literally make money while you're sleeping. But even in this world, there are choices to make. Take an ebook, for instance. It's super cheap to produce and can scale like crazy, but you're also fighting for attention in a really crowded space. An online course, on the other hand, well, that can command a much higher price and even create recurring revenue, but it's going to take a serious investment of your time and expertise up front. Okay, next up, microgigs. This is the world of deliveries, ride-sharing, running errands, all that stuff. It's where a lot of people get their start, but it's also where they run into a wall. It's something I call the profit per mile illusion. You know, the app flashes this big, exciting number. You made $150 today, but it totally ignores all the silent killers. Gas, insurance, wear and tear, and the slow, painful depreciation of your car. The secret to winning here isn't just to work harder, it's to completely change the math of the job. And the e-bike is the perfect example of this smarter way of thinking. When you swap a huge, heavy car for a quick little e-bike, you don't just save a bit on gas, you basically obliterate your overhead costs. You get way more agile, you can squeeze in more deliveries every hour, and you can start taking on bigger, higher-value jobs like groceries and packages. The lesson here is to be relentless about cutting your costs and maxing out your efficiency, no matter what your gig is. Now for our third flavor, and this is where experienced pros can really make a killing, offering high-skill services. This isn't about selling your time, it's about selling your strategic brain power. A great example of this is the fractional CMO. The idea is that a company gets to hire an elite-level chief marketing officer for just a fraction of their time and, more importantly, a fraction of the cost of a full-time hire. And when you look at the numbers, the value here is just incredible. For a company to bring on a full-time CMO, they're looking at an investment of over $330,000 a year once you add up salary, benefits, and the cost of finding them. A fractional CMO? They can deliver that exact same top-level strategic thinking for around 120 grand. It's a total game changer, both for the company and for the expert who wants more flexibility. All right, so we've covered the why and the what. But how do you actually make it work? How do you succeed in this new world? Well, it takes a completely new playbook. This right here, this is the single most important mental switch you have to make. The old way was trading your time for money. Simple as that. The new model, the winning model, is about building assets. And an asset can be anything: a digital product, your personal brand, an online community, a system, anything that creates value for you even when you're not actively working. That's the real goal. And you know what? Technology makes building those assets easier than it has ever been. Take this framework. It uses free AI tools to build an online community from the ground up. AI becomes your little research assistant, helping you find a profitable niche. Then it becomes your content machine, just churning out ideas for you. The barrier to getting started has seriously never been lower.
So let's zoom out for a second, because these individual strategies, these different flavors of gigs, they're not happening in a bubble. They're all part of a gigantic worldwide shift in the very fabric of work itself.
How gigantic? How about this number? 1.1 billion. That's how many freelancers are estimated to be working around the world right now. We're talking about roughly 35% of the entire global workforce. This isn't a fad. This is a planetary migration towards a new way of working.
And the economic engine driving all this is just getting started. The global gig economy is already worth over $500 billion. But that's not even the crazy part. The projection is that by 2034, it's expected to more than triple to over $2 trillion. This is not a bubble. This is a fundamental economic transformation. And right here in the US, we are about to cross a historic line in the sand. Projections show that by 2027, that's just a couple of years away, freelancers will make up more than half of the workforce. For the first time in modern history, independent work won't be the alternative. It's going to be the new normal.
So we've looked at the data, the motivations, the different models. The 40-hour, one-job work week that pretty much defined the last century, well, it's becoming a thing of the past. The future of work is way more flexible, it's more independent, and it's a lot more entrepreneurial. So the only real question left is, what's your next move?